Hey everyone, and a huge shout out to all of Mr. Cheese students tuning in. It's your host from The Explainer, and today we're doing something special. We're going to crack the code on one of those exam questions that can really make you sweat, the big, scary data interpretation question. We're about to turn that confusion into some serious confidence.
You know that feeling, right? You flip the page, and bam, there's this massive table of numbers, a question with like 3 different parts, and a 6-mark graph. It's enough to make your mind go completely blank. But here's the deal. We are going to turn that panic into points. I'm going to walk you through a clear, step-by-step path to absolutely mastering question 3.4.
So, here's our game plan. First, we'll decode what the data is actually saying. Then, we'll nail that ratio calculation and learn how to find the exact evidence you need. After that, we are going to build a perfect bar graph using a super simple checklist. I'll even share some pro tips from the examiners themselves, and we'll finish up with a solid game plan you can use for any data question.
All right, first things first. Before you even think about writing an answer, you've got to stop and really understand what the question is giving you. This is without a doubt the most important first step. Let's dive in.
So this is our raw data, straight from the exam paper. What we're looking at are the results from crossing purebred black and brown lizards. You can see the P1 generation, that's the parents, then their kids in the F1 generation, and then the grandkids in the F2 generation, which is split into 4 different breeding pairs. Basically, everything we need is hiding in plain sight, right here in this table. Let's jump into the first part, question 3.4.1. This is a classic 2-mark calculation, and honestly, it's what I like to call low-hanging fruit. These are easy marks to bag, as long as you just follow the steps. Okay, so the official marking guide lays it out for us, step by step. Super simple. Step 1, you're going to add up all the black lizards from all 4 of those F2 pairs. Step 2, you do the exact same thing for all the brown lizards. That leaves you with a ratio of 39 to 13. But hold on, we're not quite done yet.
The final step is just to simplify that ratio. You just need to find the biggest number that goes into both 39 and 13, which is 13. And that gives us a clean final answer of 3 to 1. And what do you know? That's the classic Mendelian ratio we're always looking for. 2 marks in the bag.
All right, next up, question 3.4.2. Now, they're asking us to play detective. We have to use the data to prove that the gene for black skin is dominant. The trick here isn't just knowing the definition of dominant, it's about finding the hard evidence for it right there in the table.
So the model answer tells us exactly where to look, right at the top of our data table. The proof is all about the P1 and F1 generations. Think about it. You start with 1 black parent and 1 brown parent, but all of their kids in the F1 generation are black. That brown trait just vanishes. That's our smoking gun right there. It proves the allele for black skin has to be dominant.
Okay, deep breaths everyone. It's time for the main event, the 6-mark bar graph. I know. This is where a lot of people trip up and lose easy marks. But not us, not today. We're going to turn this monster of a question into a simple, follow-the-steps checklist that guarantees you get every single point. And here it is. We're calling it the TCLS checklist. It stands for type, caption, labels, scale, and plotting. And this isn't just some random acronym we made up. This is literally how the examiners think. It's their marking sheet. So if we want to get all the marks, we got to learn to think like they do. First up, T is for type. And the instructions could not be clearer. It has to be a bar graph. That means your bars have to be separate. They can't touch each other. If you draw a histogram, or even worse, a line graph, you're just throwing away marks. Simple as that.
Next, C is for caption. Think of your caption like the title of a movie. It has to tell the whole story. What's the graph about? For full marks, you have to include both variables, the number of lizards and which breeding pairs we're looking at.
Then we've got L for labels. Seriously, these are probably the easiest marks on the entire paper, but you'd be amazed how many people forget them when they're rushing. Don't be that person. Make sure your y-axis is labeled number of lizards and your x-axis is breeding pairs. S is for scale, and this is a 2-parter, so listen up. First, the scale on your y-axis needs to be consistent and use up at least half the space on your graph paper. Second, your bars themselves have to be the same width and have equal spaces between them. They're absolutely looking for neatness here, folks.
And last but definitely not least, P is for plotting. This is all about being careful and accurate. You're just taking the numbers from the table and drawing them onto your graph. Now the question only asks for the 3rd and 4th breeding pairs, so don't do any extra work. Just double check that each bar is drawn to the right height before you move on.
And when you put it all together, when you follow that TCLSP checklist to the letter, you get this. A beautiful, perfect 6-mark graph. Every single box the examiner has on their list is ticked. Job done.
Okay, so for all you high flyers out there who are really aiming for those top marks, let's get into some pro tips. This is the insider info, the little secrets from the examiner's notes that can really make a difference.
Okay, now this is a huge one. Pay close attention. Most of us think that if you accidentally swap your X and Y axes, it's game over, an automatic 0. But check this out. The official memo says you can actually still get all of the marks if you also swap your labels correctly. That's an absolute game changer.
And just to prove how important our C for caption is, here's a direct quote from the official marking rules. This is not a suggestion, it's a command. All illustrations must have a caption. That means no caption, no mark. Period. It's a non-negotiable point.
So, we've just done a super deep dive into one specific question. But the real goal here is to give you a system, a game plan that you can use for any data question they throw at you in that exam. So here's the takeaway. Be systematic. Break every big question down into smaller, manageable parts so you don't get overwhelmed. Always show your work and calculations. You can get part marks even if your final answer is wrong. When they ask for evidence, quote directly from the data. And please, 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 every time you draw a graph, run through that TCLSP checklist in your head. That's how you walk into that exam feeling ready for anything. I really hope this deep dive was super helpful for you guys. If it was, you have got to go follow Mr. Chi everywhere. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, he's always dropping amazing tips and resources to help you smash your exams. So go find him, hit that follow button, like, share, subscribe, you know what to do.
And finally, we want to hear from you. What's that one topic, that one type of question that always seems to trip you up? Drop it in the comments below, and maybe we'll break that down in our next explainer. Thanks so much for tuning in, and happy studying.